I've literally now locked myself in my room. What's up, everybody?
Yay!
Pepper locked himself in.
That's right. It's step one to starting your podcast is literally lock yourself into a room so no one can stop you.
Good.
No, Billy, no. Are you making a podcast in there? Clunk, 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 clunk. Billy, it's not too late. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Turn off the recording equipment.
You don't have to wash your socks yourself anymore.
It's good.
I guess the ultimate cop escape, like what level of an apartment do you think is the best in terms of keeping the cops from hassling you? Do you think it's more a high floor or like a triple sub basement?
High
floor, no elevator.
No.
Well, and honestly, depending on where you are, if you're on a high floor and in the lowest of income neighborhoods, the cops don't care. They'll just find someone to burn your goddamn building.
Just burn it down. Well, if it's Philadelphia, they'll just actually air raid your fucking block.
These things happen constantly.
These things happen because the cops do them. Hey, this is kind of this will be a cool cross-continental thing. I'm in Arizona. You guys are in Illinois, but we recently, when you go to the checkouts at our things, they've re-put up the signs from like March, April, May, where it was like 1 toilet paper thing like per person or like 2 per family or whatever, and they just keep adding more highlighter. Like we're doing that again.
Oh God!
Is it happening there for you?
Oh yeah, toilet paper's gone.
Did it ever go away?
Oh yeah, the suburbs stopped. We stopped caring hard. Somebody complained about lines once, and then we stopped having lines.
Okay.
The city council got together and said no lines.
All right. Stop for a second. Xander Alkali, go to voice and video in Discord in settings.
Okay.
Turn off noise suppression, the codec, hardware acceleration.
Give us the raw dog signal because Discord's like, let me help you. So my name is Alkali, and I really need to tell you how about it.
Oh, okay.
And it's Discord doing it. Like it's not your mic. It's just Discord's like,
understand.
oh, you're trying to have a conversation. Let me put that shit in a triangle choke and make it as hard as possible. You remember like original Skype where you could just have the worst conversation and everyone's tech would explode. The worst conversation, both because you're using Skype, so it's the year 2002, so it's already probably a pretty shitty conversation. But also the worst conversation in terms of tech, where it would just be like, welcome to Skype. Thank you. It was a nice call. I'll see you guys next week. And now we have Discord, which is the opposite. It's like the over-aggressive bouncer that's just kicking out like it won't let anyone in. It's just, you get no signal at all.
Awesome.
Discord, with all of its powers behind it, has allowed even racists with dial-up to get their message across.
Yeah,
Discord.
It's clear as shit.
Discord, even with your shit internet, they'll hear your slur.
Oh God.
They can tell if it was a hard or soft ER.
Oh, jeez. Are we in the podcast yet? I don't even know.
Yeah, man, this is it.
All
This
right.
is the start.
Yeah,
You can't
maybe.
even tell, but
You can't.
halfway into this.
We're already on the politics train, just like real life. We're there, you don't even know it.
That's how things are gonna go. Is eventually there will be so many podcasts that you'll just be like talking to someone, and then mid conversation you'll realize, oh no, we're recording a podcast right now, aren't we?
Or retroactively, you could with the memory Black Mirror chip in your head.
Hold on.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this just midnight gospel at this point?
yeah, exactly. Everything can be a podcast if we can record everything at a split second. That'll be the next terrifying leap in technology I'm predicting.
I kind of want to live in acid world. That'd be fine.
Yeah, we can just
Frick, who's the guy who he had a couple of? He was doing big. I say this past tense. It's still happening. I can picture this guy's fucking face. He's a YouTube person, and he made a documentary, quote unquote, about like Jake Paul, like right after he did the Suicide Forest thing, and everyone was like,
geez.
"Wow!" And it exploded YouTube, and because oh look at this, and his editing is all very reality show, spooky music in the back to make shit seem very intense when really not that much is happening. But he kept doing that, and you're trying to ride because that thing like broke YouTube when the Paul documentary came out, and everyone's like, "Wow, look at all these interviews with this guy." And then you got to keep that hype going. So they had one. It's like, "Oh, look at these mystery tech shit that's happening. This is all spooky too, right?" And what they were doing was, for a while, when it was people could hear you before you answered your iPhone. You guys remember that?
Yes.
No.
What?
How it was like the call screen would come up, like you'd make the call, and the audio would just start going through, like whether you'd answered or not, essentially.
Holy crap.
Like, it's just like a tech issue. It's like, it thought you like answered the call, like part of the phone, while the rest of it didn't.
I guarantee you that was not an accident. That was the algorithm going, what's every phone call? As soon as you connected, it has to auto balance your levels and delay to get it right. So someone went, well, what if we just do it ahead of time? They're not saying anything important anyway.
It's like Discord. They're doing the same thing. They're fucking auto shitting everybody. So you're like, I can't just get a regular ass phone call anymore. It has to go through 45 Instagram filters on my voice. But they were losing their minds, and there's because they were just calling each other in the same room, like different parts of the house. Like, could you hear me? I said this before. What did I say? Like testing it basically. And essentially, what they were walking around their house, ghost story spooking theirself about, is a concept called pre-roll recording, which is a thing in like recording software. Where essentially it's just always on, sort of. So then when you press record, bam, like when you hit that button, it's just constantly recording like 1 second and then deleting it, then 1 second and deleting it. So then when I eventually hit record, if I like ran over to the console because somebody started a fucking awesome guitar solo and I like slapped the record button, it will pre-roll a couple seconds. So then afterwards I can hit stop and pull that little bar back and it recorded 1 second before you hit record just for situations like that. It sounds like a similar technology to that, but in a phone.
Yeah.
They did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they do have that for games. For certain, Xbox has that for like, you can tell your Xbox record that, and it's actually kind of creepy. I'm like, what if I had this for life? I mean, come on. You think it, yeah.
You're walking around like, man, what did I say? Okay, roll back the footage.
Yeah.
But you know what? By giving everyone that access, we get cheaper airline tickets. So it's really a double-edged sword. Hey. Let's really be honest.
You got your personal drone for your instant replay for the third angle. I mean, like, you just need constantly. Everyone's got to have a drone for Christmas. This is the next thing.
Drones for Christmas.
Drones for Christmas. Welcome to Last Minute Politics, everybody. Welcome to our hell world.
Thank you. Today I'm Pepper Coyote. Who we got Xander.
Hi.
Say something, Xander.
I'm Xander the Blue.
We have Dragor, who's being kind of just cowed out of talking right now.
Look, I gotta be honest with you. Y'all went down a dark territory, and I'm sitting there going, y'all have Alexa in your house. That is recording at all times.
I don't.
There are Amazon employees who have heard your fucked up shit, and they have to sit there and go, should I make a report on this? Or should I just talk about this in therapy?
They hear my fucked up shit and then go, could I sell this guy a rake?
How do I get this schlub to Home Depot?
That's the thing. We have like dark mirror technology, but it's used just to like get you to buy more gum.
Absolutely.
I want to get paid in gum.
I remember that commercial.
Alkali, what are the ads that piss you off when you're like, oh, fuck you, when they're like personalized?
Oh, every ad now.
Yeah, right?
Because we have the ability to stop watching advertisements, when I see them, I feel insulted.
I do. I feel bad with you. I'm with you. Alkali's got the music mix on. It's like, hey, do you want some Chinese food? Like, aw.
How stupid and fat do you think I am?
Yeah.
And then I look down and go, fuck, it knows.
Yeah, it's just constant Panda Express on fucking whatever.
It was Constant Panda Express. Then every time you and I started driving somewhere while listening to Pandora, we talked about how much we hate Panda Express. And then we all of a sudden stopped hearing advertisements for Panda Express. And I long for the days of the Panda. At least they were food advertisements. Now I get taxes.
Oh no. See, I have turned off all of my like responsive ad stuff. So now the only I don't get targeted ads, so I just get whatever. So it just seems to be the same picture over and over. I didn't recognize it till like the 20th time because it's really zoomed in. I'm like, what am I actually looking at? But it's just a picture of a cashew on fire, and it says, "Empty your bowels in under 10 minutes." And I'm like, what is this? The only point this out because I have gotten that ad and that, but okay, instead of a cashew on fire, it's like a cut in half ginger root, and they're just showing like the end, like the newly cut end of the ginger root in the same text. Empty your bowels every day in under 10 minutes. And I'm like, am I just like talking about like constipation at all time? That's not.
Well, hold on.
That's not an issue in my life right now that I'm like talking out loud about for sure.
You just said that you turned off all of your filters. That means the only thing they know about you is that they know that you don't want filters. You're a sick individual. They're going to send you a flaming cashew and talk about concept. They figured you out, motherfucker. They figured you out when you turned shit off.
My first thought is like, if you smoke a cashew, will it make you shit your pants? Is that what they're telling me with this? Can you smoke a cashew?
On Mythbusters.
And will it do like what?
Hey, Adam Savage, we've got a thing for you
Shit
to
with
test.
ginger root. If I rub it on my, like if I rub ginger root on myself, like what?
That's one hell of a way to celebrate No Nut November. Just smoke that cashew.
Smoke a fucking cashew.
I smoked a cashew, shit my brains off, and didn't masturbate. I hate this month.
I feel No Nut November during quarantine is just asking for like a school shooting. Like, you're just fucking you're just in your house, angry about
puzzle,
whatever.
Pepper.
I am.
They're just trying to up those shootings numbers.
Seriously. Every like white supremacy proud boy, I'm including them specifically, Jordan Peterson ass, like give me these weird like how to live your life right wing shits. They always involve stop jerking off. They're always like, you're not allowed to jerk off. Like that's a part of all of them.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, I gotta go pump some weight or something productive.
Because it's ungodly. It's a waste of effort. It's not making a baby. How
I'm
dare
sure that's
you?
where it comes from, but
Yeah, it's a lot of wasted effort.
it's at some point. It's
Hey,
like,
this is all I'll say on the piece of shit that is Jordan
Yeah,
Peterson.
baby.
Did you see the latest still where Clean Your Room asshole has a messy fucking background?
He doesn't follow what he preaches.
go for it, Xander. You do.
Oh,
do the
yeah. Jordan.
explanation.
For those who don't know, Jordan Peterson is a guy who got popular on the Joe Rogan podcast saying, clean your room, be responsible. Christians are great. Wait, what? And then that's how it gets into the whole personal responsibility thing.
Oh, he was going so well there.
And then he got on an all-meat diet and got really depressed and got hooked on benzos and then got on a coma that his daughter got him into in the Russians. And now he's back.
Hold on.
Wait. To
You
be
just
clear,
wow.
coma isn't like some abbreviation of a cult that his daughter got him
Yeah.
into.
I forgot about that part.
He had to pursue like not extra. I want to say extrajudicial, but that isn't the right kind of. He had to go get a medical procedure done somewhere else. That he's like, oh, I gotta do this. So he went to like was it Russia or somewhere near Russia to get put into a medically induced coma. Like he voluntarily was like, you know what, shit is fucked. Put me in a coma. And his daughter's like, yeah, no problem.
What the fuck?
So now his
put
new
him in a
book is
coma.
back for 12 more rules to not get hooked on benzos and be put on a self-induced coma in Russia,
Well,
apparently.
Xander, what's his book called?
12 rules.
12 Rules for Life by
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson. It's supposed to be it looks like a self-help thing, and all the self-help shit that Jordan Peterson talks about for the most part isn't like bad advice. It's essentially how to survive under capitalism. It's like, look like a presentable businessman and go in and like look what you know what the fuck you're talking about and don't be a fucking slob all the time. I'm like, all right, like that's fine. I get it. Like
They lose me with don't blame the system and you have to take personal responsibility for everything that's happening in your life right now.
Also, Jesus is the way.
Also, Jesus is the way.
it does just become like boring conservative Christian values after you really get into it, which is the most disappointing part.
It's letting the powerful off the hook. It's letting those who like set up the system. Like, oh, yeah, that's fine. You do.
He's trying to get math nerds into conservative Christianity.
Yeah, you're
and
not
it's
wrong.
working.
Yeah, it takes the I'm a programmer and I work on computers and I can fix problems.
No.
I'll fix the problem known as myself, and eventually the problem gets fixed by finding Jesus, I guess.
No, they don't get math nerds. That's not how this works. Nothing plus nothing ever equals God. We checked. Trust me. Tons of equations, parentheses, nothing.
As the great scientist once posited, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have nothing.
That guy
If you're gonna be your son.
That guy's hair was amazing. Do you remember with the bouncing piano? Holy crap.
What? See, you were alive for this. I just noticed because it was probably on like a Twix commercial in 2002.
Dude.
That is so sad.
Look up that music. That guy has the biggest bouncing, happiest afro you've seen in your life.
Yeah, it's pretty glorious.
You know you're looking at a great song when you Google Nothing from Nothing. The first result is just a YouTube still of a 45 that says Billy Preston on it. You're like, oh, this is an old song. Okay.
Oh, you got Pep already. You got him on
Holy
board.
shit, there he is. He
Yeah,
does have some great hair. Oh
It's
my God,
huge.
Billy Preston's hair.
I tell no lies.
Only surpassed by the beard. It's kind of all the same thing at the end there. Nice.
I don't know if you name episodes, but oh my God, Billy Preston's hair might be a perfect name.
It's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Billy Preston's
All right.
hair gives me hope. There you go. It gives me a smile.
Okay, Xander, so you make the thumbnails, right? After this,
Yeah.
you've got to edit in fucking Billy Preston's head. Like, that's got to be on the
100%.
thumbnail. Like, just
Fuck
instead
you,
of the...
Biden. Fuck you, Trump. It's all about Billy Preston.
Just have two
Hell
Billy
yeah.
Preston pictures. Not even a joke. Everybody, if you enjoy the thumbnail you're seeing right now, and it is Billy Preston's head, this is why.
It will
All
be.
right. So last housekeeping thing. We have a PayPal. If you guys want, it costs us $9 a month to be on Spotify or whatever service you're listening to this on, unless it's YouTube, in which case that is free. But if y'all go to paypal.me /last-minute-politics, you will get there. Let me try it right now. Last minute. Oh, there it is.
You
And then
did
there'll
it.
be a picture of the clock. It'll have my real name on it. Hey, if you want to find out my real name, give us some fucking money. $9 a month keeps us going. Subscribe to
That's
us
terrible.
on
Pepper.
YouTube. On Twitter, we are Last Minute Poll, POL. Please follow us there. Tell all your friends. Get us some fucking listeners.
You're making the
Hey, who's up
CIA's
first?
jobs too easy.
Making
All
this.
they
All right, NSA, as you're listening to this. Actually, no, the NSA can't listen to this because the Patriot Act did not get renewed by our wonderful progressive President Obama. Remember
What?
how Obama.
Southland Tales lied to me. What are you talking
Remember,
about?
remember how Obama let the Patriot Act expire because it was a George W. Bush overreach of executive branch authority and it was bad, and the Democrats said how bad it was, so Obama got rid of it. Dragor, fill in what I'm not saying.
Oh, the part where Obama expanded all of the drone strike
What?
stuff that Bush originated.
Oh, what?
That Obama has at least one known American citizen death overseas, basically an extrajudicial killing.
Yeah, but
because
they're probably
of
a
drone
terrorist,
strikes.
so who even cares?
And
I will say
exactly.
Obama did extend the Nintendo war as he pulled back the troops. That is definitely part of the plan.
The Extendo War. So, okay,
It
the joke we're
was.
making is that President Trump is actually the person who allowed the Patriot Act to expire,
We
which
saw
doesn't mean we
Lady
love
Gaga with her
Trump.
drone army. That was basically like Obama's term.
Yeah.
He came with his drone army. We pulled out so many people, and
Wow,
he just
yeah.
fucking went crazy. And that's fine.
It's like we
but to be
can't-
fair, Trump did do 4 times that. So you got to be careful with that shit.
Trump did not start any new forever wars. I don't think on purpose. I don't think he came in and he's like, I am a great diplomat who will eliminate the forever war. Like he says on TV, he wants to stop the wars, but he doesn't actually mean it. But through some combination of shit, it didn't
Yeah.
fucking happen, did it?
It's
We are
know.
not
all
at war with
obscured.
Okay, to be fair, it's the war against us at home, but let's go with what the Republicans said. The Republicans didn't build any cages.
We simply used the cages.
They used them really bad. I mean, come on.
But there's something to that. You can't just completely ignore it. It's like, yeah, you're right. Obama did fucking build those cages, and the Democrats left open all these windows for a shitty president to use, because maybe we shouldn't have a president. I don't want to get into all that shit, though.
Like, it's all about, it's hard to say you didn't make, like, he made the cages. Like, when you throw families in there and separate them, that's a little different. But
like him not making the cages in no way excuses the use of the cages.
Yeah.
But he's right. He did not make the cages, and he did not leave the legal loophole open for those cages to be used in that way. Which isn't to say that Trump is off the hook in any way, but it does put the Democrats on the hook for, okay, why'd you do that? You knew it could be done with that language you put in the legislation, so why did you do that?
people like cages, Pepper. God
They
damn
do,
it.
and they hate Mexican children, I guess. Like,
Pedro
love
deserved it.
cages, hate immigrants. That's the new policy.
Oh, fuck.
So, Xander, you have our first topic for
Cages.
today.
Yeah, I sure do. I'm
No,
gonna
I said that
scroll
wrong.
down.
Dragor, that's how it's
Yeah,
spelled.
Dragger does.
Dragor, you
That's
have the
how
first.
it's spelled.
You have the first topic for today. What are we talking about?
We're making it about furry, the gig economy and furry.
Yeah, baby.
So basically, anytime you're doing art commissions and what have you, if the person you're commissioning, that's all they do, they're basically in the gig economy. Yay! And this came up while we were playing Doom, of all things. You're an artist person. You're doing the gig economy. Even though Obamacare is a thing, you struggle with bills, and that out-of-pocket, high deductible can fuck you at any given instant.
And the thing is,
And so it does. And then suddenly you need to open for rush commissions to make the bills. But then, oh no, you fall behind on commissions. And then you fall behind on bills. And it does this perpetual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have basically two people as your clients. You have the one person who, oh, that sucks. I understand. But, I'm lucky. This is fine. And then you have the other person who they scraped and saved for months to get their one commission. And their one commission gets tanked by bullshit. How do we deal with this? This happens in furry all the time. You bring up commissions, and there is at least one person in your group that's going to rage spike because they've had that happen at least once.
Oh, just this unrestricted bullshit space where this is constantly happening? Yeah, I don't know how you stop
Federal
that.
regulation.
Oh, thank you, Alkali. You figured it out. That's why it exists in the first place, to get around regulations. That's like the
Federal,
whole
that's
point
the-
of the gig economy. Hell, the funny thing, Dragger, is like we as furries have been to the gig economy first. This is like we kind of grew up with it, and then like the rest of the world kind of came into it as we had been doing it for a while. So we're in an interesting position, don't you say? As far as being familiar with the pitfalls of what you were just describing. Like, it doesn't matter if it's fucking, we're talking about rent or fucking coming under the taxi business or just commissions. Like, it's all about getting around those regulations that would solve these things in the first place. So
Well, like, what's one of them? Xander and or Pepper and or Alkali. I don't know if y'all grew up with this, but I grew up with. My dad would always comment about how plumbers, carpenters, anything, any service like that you would hire yourself. My dad always said, and if you can and you can trust the person, get someone who will take cash because they don't want to pay taxes. They can just keep it all. And there was never this, like, growing up, this acknowledgement of you're not paying taxes out of any nefarious reason. It's you just get to keep more and you can make yourself better off by doing that.
Yeah.
Did any of y'all grow up with that?
Yeah, it's the small time version of what the big businesses do, like
Exactly.
legally. Like, like they do the same shit, but they make specific special rules so the big boys can do that kind of shit. The small time guy, under the table payments is the closest you get.
Absolutely.
It's almost like we all understand where all the money is, and that we should just give a little bit more for this guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's
all right. Here's a thought. Universal basic income and having all your basic needs met would likely drastically change the furry commission landscape.
Oh, of course.
Doing anything like that, once you get into that realm where a person doesn't have to ever feel like their back is against the wall, increases not only productivity, but the literal quality of what is coming out. Could you imagine what the furry fandom would produce if no one needed to worry about their basic needs and they took on real pet projects?
Yeah.
I mean, me and Xander were able to create that silly Dragit DST-3K. That was a pet project of ours. We were able to do that because while I was working, Xander was at home and he knew that everything was at a good point. He was able to just work on that project. And in the end, we made a movie. That is what we accomplished. Imagine the people that really have some of these out there wonderful talents, what they would do if that was taken care of. And it's a shame that it's not. It really is.
I would actually redirect and say, forget the outliers of amazingness and go with Joe Schmo, who kind of wants to draw, maybe. Or me, for example. Part of the reason I get so many commissions is not just liking the style of others, but I can't even do it myself. I don't have the time to learn just enough to make what I want for me. Because I have a day job and I have medical bills and a mortgage and, the list goes on.
No, absolutely.
Like, what do you hire out? Think about what either in furry specifically you spend money on in the fandom. What would you not spend money on if you could just take the time and do it yourself?
The furry is in a weird position we obviously can't all do that, but part of the reason that furry has the amount of cool shit in it and the amount of art, the fact that we have our own little, I've heard someone say micro economy, the furry micro economy.
Oh, I like
we kind of
that.
have that, right?
Oh, the furry stock market is coming, baby.
Yeah. From
right,
the 90s on.
Dalkalize it. I got his attention.
Like, if you're listening to this and you are not in the fandom, I can say with quite a bit of confidence that you have never commissioned anything. Like, never in your everyday life do you commission.
Who has PayPal? Furries and people on eBay. That was it. That was it for a long time.
So there's enough furries that are, like, since we have a slightly higher queer population than the average, we have in general fewer people have nuclear families, and you have a relatively high concentration of, like, a drag. I don't mean to, like, describe you in a disparaging way, but we have, like, tech dudes who have some extra money, and they
I
can
am very much
commission
that,
stuff.
yes.
So Alkali said, it's amazing what happens when your back isn't up against the wall. Furry is kind of an example where a much higher percentage than usual of people don't have their backs against the wall. And since we have enough, like, I say tech dudes, there are tech ladies who do the same thing, but for the most part, let's be fucking real, it's mostly dudes.
Dudes,
that's how the industry runs.
Dudes is non-binary, goddammit. I throw back to Bill and Ted as my
I do throw
authority.
dudes is non-binary and as it should be.
I think
Dudettes
dudes can be gender neutral. But it's mostly male presenting. It's mostly cis males who make all this money. Gay cis males, but for the most part, yeah. So they have not only have that freedom for themselves, but they kind of create that freedom in that they are just able to throw a shit. They can go, you know what? That commissioned piece is going to be extremely high detail and a bunch of work. Here's 2 G's for it. Take a month and work on only that. Like, here's your bills paid for it. And I love how the number I threw out for this insane high number is $2,000 for 1 month, which is a normal ass amount of money for someone to, like, that's not shooting for the stars even. That's your $24,000 a year. You can live on that money, and to me it feels like a fortune. But we kind of create that space where people can go off and make a freaking completely perfect World of Warcraft Worgen and blow everybody's mind like a rando furry made.
I don't know whether or not we have to convince people that people won't shut down and do no work whatsoever. I know that's out there. You know that's out there, Alkali.
Absolutely.
Just that idea that people are just your coworkers. You're like people. Oh, why would they do anything at all?
What Xander's referring to is the idea of universal basic income absolutely shutting down the job market.
And people don't understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You just want more things, and you don't stand still as people.
The idea that people wouldn't get jobs on universal basic income. Like, we're very clear. It's even in the name. It's your basic necessities. Do you want to do anything? Go do something with your... You're not going to just sit there.
You're touching on something weird because it's partial of a lack of creativity. Like my dad says he doesn't know what he's going to do when he retires. And I'm like you said, Dragger, you have a laundry list of things that you could think you want to learn or do, right?
Xander and I, and this is like the big, bold galaxy brain version of it, where universal basic income and immortality are basically the same conversation. Do you have the imagination enough to, like, anyone who says, oh, I don't want to live forever confuses me, because I can think of thousands of lifetimes worth of things I would just want to go try if there was no consequence for doing it. Fuck yeah, I'd throw myself at all sorts of goofy shit.
Our living conditions fuck up the idea of... That's why people say they don't want to live forever, because you look at what life is for most people on the whole planet, and no one wants to do that forever.
Right?
I don't want to fucking work forever. I want to eventually be able to stop and have some fucking fun. And they've just decided, you got to hit at least 65 and you got to have a certain job. And then you get like 5 whole years where your body still works as long as you didn't have a blue collar job. Hope you didn't have a blue collar job where you have no knees, elbows, or joints anymore. And then you get like a weekend to enjoy life, and then you fucking die. And that shit costs $20,000 too.
Yeah.
You're not
$20
wrong.
grand. That is the cheapest funeral I've ever heard of.
Well, I'm not in
grand.
Chicago.
Oh, okay.
These
I gotta throw
highfalutin-
my death party for my friends.
Look, I've got
So
a tin
dumb.
of Folgers, and we have to drink the coffee before we can put the ashes in it.
Oh my
But-
god.
That should be the party. Is you fuck? Oh my god, you're right. You have a party where you keep drinking this coffee until you empty the tin. Everyone's wired as shit, screaming about the person who's dead or anything. Who cares? Just
No.
scream about
You
something.
drink all the coffee, and then at some point, someone's going to scream and kill the person that needs to die.
Yo, this is a small shout out, unsponsored, sponsored. What the fuck? There's this lady, Caitlin with a C, Caitlin Doughty, Doughty. Why does she have 2 names I can't fucking spell? But they're on YouTube. They are a mortician, and they will help you figure out the best way to not waste an insane amount of money on a funeral. Delightful channel. Go watch it.
Do you want to be a tree? You could be like Captain Planet, turning you into a tree. You could be a fucking
natural
tree.
burial,
That's so
home
cool.
funerals.
So cool.
Your ass, the minimum you gotta buy is a fucking cardboard box for them to cremate you in, and that is it. You can get a pretty nice funeral down to the $5,000 range, and that's if you want to actually hire somebody.
I still stand by turning portions of your ashes into diamonds and then passing down the family pendant of
Sure.
dead people diamonds is how you bring magic back into the world.
That is,
Okay, no, that's solid. That's solid. I'm a proponent of shooting off into space because I truly believe that the only way for this species to survive is for us to be a 2-planet species, which means due to the gravitational pull of random shit out there, there's a good chance I'm going to whip around and eventually hit the window of a goddamn spaceship. And I just want them to have to put windshield wipers on spaceships because of my fat, bloated ass.
Oh.
corpses. The corpse wipers.
just randomly, what the fuck was that? I don't know. Well, never mind.
Well, look, you got to think farther. You got to think about, like, you know how the Dune books take place over like 90,000 years or something. It's like, you got to think years in the future, where now we're using all these space corpses as like a form of fuel. So you got to like get near the orbit of some planet to scoop up some corpses to power your ship to get to the next corpse planet.
I'm such an alcoholic. My fuel would burn so weird.
The color changes. All right, I have a segment. I got to keep this shit moving because wrestling
Yeah, baby.
starts soon, and we got
35 minutes. We have 35 minutes.
Speaking of
Okay.
which,
This is a segment called Is It Socialism? Where
Yeah.
I will describe a problem, and then all of us get a brief amount of time to give us what their solution would be to this kind of shit. And I'm not going to say anything to influence anyone's... and I will go last because I definitely have my thing. I never have my
Wonderful.
solution in mind when I pick
All right.
pick the thing. So here's the situation. Here's the thing that happened very recently. This is reading from Addie Robertson at The Verge. I'm stealing their article here. A major Super Smash Bros. Tournament is canceling plans to move online amid the coronavirus pandemic following a legal order by Nintendo. Blah, blah, Nintendo hates you. Okay.
Oh no.
As Mark Polygon reports, the Big House, typically one of the year's biggest Smash competitions, announced yesterday that it's shutting down its early December event and offering refunds. The Big House is heartbroken. This is a quote. It's heartbroken to share we've received a cease and desist from Nintendo. So this isn't Nintendo just being like, hey, don't do this. This is Nintendo saying, we have the lawyers, and if you do the thing, you are going to court with us. The organizers wrote on Twitter, we are forced to comply with the order and cancel the Big House online. Nintendo objected. Here's the specific thing. You might be like, oh, what is it? Is this some copyright? Blah, blah, blah. It is copyright. But they objected to the organizers using a software called Slippy, Slippi. So like open source people on the internet, Dragor and his friends, have figured out how to make GameCube titles and other stuff like that, like playable online. If you're watching like the Game Grumps right now, like how the fuck are they playing Mario Party 4 over the internet? Slippy. They're using Slippy or something like it. It takes pirated ROMs of old games and
now
lets
I
you
learned.
do multiplayer online, which
It is, to interject, having the ROM itself isn't necessarily piracy. There's a lot of stuff for it, but it's generally varying forms of illegal to create one. But once you have one and it is off of a physical media you own, that is still legal, and then the rest is gray area.
it's not even that the ROMs that they're mad about. It's just Slippy itself is what Nintendo cites in their like, cease and desist shit. The 2001 GameCube title is a mainstay of the competitive Super Smash Bros. Scene, and translating its hyperfast gameplay from an in-person tournament requires unofficial modding. The company hasn't actually sold Melee or the GameCube for over a decade. In 2013, Nintendo ordered EVO, the world's largest fighting game tournament, to shut down a planned
Holy
Melee event.
shit.
And that is not because of fucking Slippy. Nintendo just doesn't like anyone doing anything that isn't officially Nintendo, before quickly reversing its decision. So it's not a surprising move for the company, but its approach to copyright has hindered taking a long-running event online at a time when there is no other option. We are in pandemic, and Nintendo could not be cool for a single fucking tournament. Anyway. Who would like to solve this? So the issue at hand
so
is...
I've got two really quick, and
Go
then
for it.
Alkali, you go.
Okay.
First, fuck Nintendo and just don't play their shit. Like, there are open source games or other companies that are more open to this, and like, yes, it happened to be a great time. I was a diehard Melee player, and you know what? Fuck them. I was a diehard Diablo 2 person, and Blizzard is okay with a lot of Chinese human rights violations, so fuck them. Like, there are other things out there. It's not like you only have Melee to choose from, so whatever.
That's true.
And then the other answer / flip side is you can be really daring and make them go to court, but that requires a lot of time and resources to fight something that is worth fighting. You would likely get the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or Foundation Frontier. What? EFF. They would likely get the EFF on their side to fight this heavily if they believed it was like actually winnable. Most notably, Lindsay Ellis got the EFF representing her in a bunch of things. They side with a lot of open source or like right to hack. We talked about the right to repair your tractors and trailers.
Sure.
This is a software thing in that similar realm of
like how
people
you
not
can't
being
swap
allowed
out your
to...
fucking battery in an iPhone.
Yeah. So that's me. I'm done rambling now.
Alkali or Xander, what's your solution?
You go, Alkali.
Here's the Dragger. You've got the right idea with yes, you can do something else for that time, but the problem goes much farther than that. It's all in the last line of the article. Its approach to copyright. It's the copyright law. You cannot own something forever. Yes, you do need to own it for the amount of time that it takes you to make back the money that it took to create the object. Yes, copyright should not go away, but copyright has to end. It wouldn't be a problem if they had a different game to do now for their tournament, knowing that this game would be available to them when the copyright expires in a normal time period, 7 years. not
So,
Disney
Alkali,
time.
you just brought up in part why they are bringing up the suit. And it's not because they're modifying the thing. They were looking for any reason. So there's multiple Smash Brothers games. The GameCube one is called Melee. Their latest one, which you can play online, is called Ultimate, and it's on the Switch.
They canceled the Ultimate Tournament as well because basically, fuck Nintendo. If you want to be a shithead about one, you're going to be a shithead about all of them.
Jesus Christ.
Because, okay, what was their reasoning for the...
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
What did they cite as the reason for canceling the Ultimate one?
The tournament canceled all of it because if you can't do one, don't do all of them. And I personally agree with the moral decision to do so. If Nintendo wants to be a fuck, you're getting it all canceled.
Oh, yeah,
Nintendo
absolutely.
has now canceled the whole
Nintendo
tournament.
didn't tell them they couldn't do an Ultimate one.
I don't think they specifically did that. I don't know if not, but that's why I bring up that's why I left in that paragraph about in 2013 they ordered Evo not to do it. In 2013 they weren't using Slippy. They were sitting in a room with GameCubes made by Nintendo with a disc made by Nintendo, and they still had a problem with that.
Yeah.
All right, Xander, what's your thing? Sorry, this is a segment, so we're meant to be. I don't get as in depth on this.
It sounds like I'm about to shit on Dragger, but I swear to God, it's not.
Do it. Shit on. We have to start fighting, guys. You got to start pick your
Oh,
favorites.
big fights. Yeah.
The audience at home needs to go fuck Xander and I love Dragger or the opposite.
It's more of an asterisk. It's more of an asterisk on the not buying people's shit. Like, I do so because it makes, morally, it makes me feel good. But seriously, like, I'm not going to get Cyberpunk because fuck them. Like, I experienced that. I experienced the working conditions that created that. So I'm not going to take part in that. I'm not as delusional enough to think that's going to make a huge impact as far as their bottom line. I know that. But complaining online is not worthless. Like what we're doing right now, letting people know that Nintendo fucked up, that their copyright attitude is shit and it continues to be shit. Keep bringing it up. Keep reminding them of them.
Remember when you couldn't put Nintendo shit on YouTube? That's gone now. You can just do it.
Right.
Because everybody shit on Nintendo for 3 years.
And if they're going to continue to be shitty, don't let it go. Like I used to think that complaining online was worthless, blah, blah, blah. Jim Sterling kind of turned me away from that and actually pointed to many times where the consumers were like, we're not okay with this. And it actually, there is a tide. It's not worthless to keep bringing these up, like, especially if you are involved in the competitive scene. Like Dragger actually dabbles. I know you do, right?
I entered several Melee tournaments when I was in college.
Yeah. So I don't know how you solve that. Alkali's got a great idea with the copyright thing. I mean, that's just a huge problem. Like Disney's still trying to take credit for things and get money for things. They don't want to pay for the things that they...
Disney has copyrighted their creative everything that are all based off of old Grimm's fairy tale novels.
Right.
It is the most insane thing I have ever heard, and they're just doing it. And that's fine now.
Yeah. No artists we don't have to pay ever again. But we bought this rights, but we don't have to pay the artists who made the said thing. And that's a whole different conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble.
Pepper, you have your answer. What's yours?
My answer is Alkali basically took it. Copyright is the issue. Copyright cannot. Yeah, right. That's not like bad. That means I'm glad we're thinking the same thing. Yeah, copyright being shitty is the only reason this problem exists. The fact, like, I'm sure if you fucking called Sakurai, the director of the game, I'm sure if you asked him, he'd be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Play my game. I don't care. I don't make any money off it anymore. Like you said.
Exactly.
It's the fact that within video games, it's a whole extra layer, because at least with a song or a movie a little bit, or an art piece where there's fewer than 100 creators, people who worked on it, it's like, cool, that kind of makes some sense. But once you're at the level where of a Disney or a Nintendo, you are now a corporation. In America, corporations are considered people, therefore you can kind of have a lot of the same rights, and you can just hold copyright forever and ever and ever and ever. That's why the Happy Birthday song just recently fell out of copyright after being sued over it for years. It took decades and decades, a century of lawsuits to get the fucking Happy Birthday song into public domain, which was written in 18 whatever the fuck.
Correct.
Yeah. The only solution to this is full copyright revolution. And when it comes to copywriting works that are made by literally hundreds of people, such as mainstream video games, I think you need a whole new set of rules for that stuff. Because, like, should Disney be able to own a character created by Walter Disney until the end of time? No.
Disney thinks so. And we have a mouse. It comes down to this. You can see what's going on here by actually using Disney as an example. It is literally the most powerful entertainment business on this planet right now. I am correct. It now owns entertainment, right?
Pretty much.
Good.
If you don't count Indian and Chinese production companies, there are a couple of them who, if you look at by per capita, they technically have as much-ish power as Disney.
I was wondering about that. I've never actually. Thank you. That's super interesting. I'm gonna
But
go
there's very little audience like crossover. It's not like if an Indian company releases a movie, it's gonna fuck up the American market, or vice versa.
Sure.
So that's how they kind of coexist, kind of, sort of.
That's
You basically
amazing.
have
now.
Disney and Vivendi Universal. Like, Vivendi Universal is less known to the average person, but they're at the top of everything that isn't Disney.
Okay. Well, what it comes down to is this is one of the biggest companies out there for entertainment, and they exist because they took works that already existed and changed them for the times they were in. They took these grim fairy tales, which, once again, do not forget how morbid they are, and they turned them into... Yes.
What legal thing allowed them to take a story and remix it without having to pay anyone?
That would be it falling off of copyright.
That'd be, public domain.
Yeah,
they took public
correct,
domain
yes.
stories and changed them enough to make them somehow no longer public domain. It's as if you guys took your MST3K version where you fucking make fun of Night of the Living Dead and said, guess what? We own Night of the Living Dead now forever and ever, and everyone has to pay us, and no one can ever make another Night of the Living Dead anything. Ha-ha.
Do you remember when the Fine brothers tried to copyright reacting to things on YouTube?
Oh my God.
That didn't go over too well.
And that's my point to all of this.
It seems crazy.
It's
They didn't have
not...
the clout.
Nope.
As
If
of
they
right
had more
now,
clout, they could have done it.
Isn't that true?
If they were Disney, it would have worked. That's the only difference is money.
Oh no! It's just fucking Jiminy Cricket reacting to shit for a random
Jiminy
time.
reacts.
Oh wow! That's a gaping asshole, all right.
So, Disney has a vault of basically all the porn of all of its IP is some kind of weird we need to know, right?
I forgot
Imagine
about
if you have the Disney Pornhub instead of like the Netflix boop noise or something.
Oh, give it a
would
few
just-
more years. They'll have it.
It'll be a black screen. It'll be whatever they title it, and then it'll just be a soft gorge, and then your porn plays.
Yeah, let me roll this out. I want to round this out with one last idea. If Disney Plus included access to all of the Disney porn drawn by official Disney animators, I might pay for it.
That's fair.
Isn't the most notable that I grew up with in furry, and I think Xander and Alkali, you're with me on this, is Doug Winger.
Oh,
Yeah.
from the deep dark recesses of the Disney vault
God, we're gonna
comes
get
Walt's dirty book.
They always talk about how we froze his head. We don't talk about what we did to his body.
Oh no!
I just heard a knock at my door. I think it's a mouse with a gun.
fuck the Patriot Act. It's coming back.
Wow.
But it's Disney now.
These dumb hollow points sure are funny.
The Fantasia Act is gonna fuck us all. All right, I have another segment. We're running out of time too. We're running out of time here
We
on
are.
fucking the talk show that is. All right, this is my other segment. It's a new one. This is a new segment. Everybody,
Uh-oh.
let's do a fucking drum roll for the news. Don't. This is called the Mainstream Minute. We take 1 minute is the concept. We take 1 minute each to give a take on an event that has happened recently in mainstream politics. I'm gonna get out my timer. You can time along at home if you want, everybody. But I'm gonna set this timer for 1 minute. And I'll tell everyone what they're at 1 minute. So here's your prompt. All right. It's election news this time, of course. Look at how much of a stink Republicans have made out of nothing in regards to the election. Like, their candidate lost, and look at all of the various legal venues that they have managed to gum up, slow down. The Trump shit was, the day or the day after, like 48 hours after the election, Trump was in the White House with Obama, going over his shit, in an election where the guy who got the most most votes was a woman named Hillary Clinton. And so, like, still Trump in the White House next day. The Republicans have done all of this all of this just stupid lawsuits, one after another, because they didn't like the results of the election. This is the kind of stuff I wish the Democrats would do, but like for good things, like be this obnoxious for good causes. Like we just saw previously a Supreme Court seat stolen from President Obama. He should have been able to fill that one, like over a year. Completely nonsense, out of decorum. And then we watched them slam a jam through a nominee in like under a month. Like, wasn't it 2 weeks from like death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg to like, boom, we got her in there. We got the new appointee. But notice the Democrats did not have 10,000 bullshit lawsuits to slow down the process. They didn't even give a fucking effort. They didn't even try. They just like, okay, we'll vote for him. Well, we won't vote for him, but you have enough votes, so whatever. Okay, we'll just go on with proceedings. Thank you very much. Here's Amy Coney Barrett. Moving on. Now, I've been talking to kind of give you guys time to think here, because now you each have 1 minute, and you don't have any idea who I'm going to first.
Oh, fuck.
Alkali, what's what's your just reaction? You don't have to have a solution. Just tell me, like, what do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that Republicans are doing X, and, you know.
I think that at this point, we need to take power back where it belongs in the first place. The people need to take the power and do this shit until we can get out of this stupid first past the post voting. I know I'm one of those one issue politics. I want vote reform so bad. It is crazy that we don't have this. This is the only thing that matters, so that people's voices are actually heard, so that we can actually get somebody in there to vote for who we want to, knowing that our vote isn't just going to be thrown away. And that's just at the core. That's what I want this to be used for. If we're going to steamwall, it needs to be the people steamwalling to get vote reform.
Alkali says we got to fix the whole voting system to even fucking start thinking about this shit.
I
Xander,
really
what do you
believe that. It's crazy.
Xander, what do you think?
It's really, and I hate to be like Mr. Conspiracy tinfoil hat, they're really just trying to shit on election politics in general and politics, and just say the whole system's a piece of shit, and that's what they're trying to set up. Really, they're trying to just make you just think of the Democrats as the system and Joe Biden as the system, and basically the Republicans are lack thereof, which I can't argue against that, unfortunately. Which
lack of system.
It's literally just handing over the reins to the corporate America. That's what we've been doing, and what you get with that is 260,000 dead Americans and people who don't want to close anything down because we have a fucking pandemic that's going to close down the businesses. So that's what you get with that. So what I'm trying to say is they're trying to up the rage machine for the anti-establishmentness, and I hate that it works. So I guess it's up to us just to point that shit out and say they're just trying to rile you up, and this is what they're doing, and that's all I got for you.
Great. That's 1 minute and 4 seconds, Andrew. Excellent timing of this.
Right.
So you think Republicans are just being shitty on purpose to continue to have the American electorate be hopeless about elections? Dragor, how about you?
There are basically three things they want, and they being Republicans and Democrats, they just go about it in different ways. They want money. And money and power are basically the same thing in this context. They want votes. So, like, they're still, for the most part, following vote systems in elections. And then they need your attention. And the attention they value is tied to money, but it's also tied to votes. So look how many times the Democratic Party courts black voters, and then the Democrats don't do anything to actually help black voters because they got the vote, so they don't care anymore. So the Democrats won't change until either their donors or their votes start genuinely getting in jeopardy. The Republicans keep doing what they do because their base loves that they do it. And if the media were to actually call them out on their bullshit, then they already have it in their pocket. Oh, you're persecuting us. You're being unfair.
All right. Things will not change until we force them to. I definitely agree on that. So, all right, Here's my 1 minute. I completely agree with everything that everyone said. I want to
Yay.
take all of those points and just add in that none of those affect what the Democrats do. And I think those are the motivations for the Republicans. I think they are just trying to create like a sense of general malaise. So then they can go, all right, in 2024, better fucking like look at the Democrats. What have they done for the last 4 years? And the Democrats will gladly jump up and say, nothing. We've done nothing, but we're less racist than the Republicans, probably. So vote for us, you better. Like, I think the Democrats do not fight for good things because they do not want those good things to happen. If they took a stand against any of the nonsense the Republicans do, then they would have to like eliminate that type of behavior from their own like MO, the way that Democrats go about things. I think they will continue to not put up this kind of stink because they actually kind of want a reason that they can't get anything accomplished. Oh, the Supreme Court's fucked up. We can't get anything through. Oh, we lost the Senate. Can't get anything through. Oh, I better vote for us in 2024 because we didn't have the Senate, didn't have the, all these things that aren't our fault happened. So vote for us again in 2024. I think they are hapless idiots on purpose. So we always will need them to be not the Republicans. That's my minute.
Yay.
Oh boy.
All right, we are going to Xander's segment.
Oh boy.
Xander, it's your turn. Start. I'm ready to the
Yes.
bathroom because I foolishly had 3 beers over the course of the entire day, which now means I must pee every 2
fool.
seconds.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no,
I
you're
fool.
doomed.
That jug was full of wine. Nobody
Okay.
gets that one.
I do. Xander,
Anyway.
We do.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm going to talk about wrestling unionization because it came out again. This is my way to turn everything into wrestling. If you don't know me, this happens from time to time. And every once in a while, what happens is in the news, something happens where they piss off the wrestlers enough so that they start to begin to unionize again. Well, this time, Vince McMahon decided that his wrestlers in WWE cannot perform on Twitch or any other platforms. Isn't that about the right way it works, Dragger?
Yeah. Twitch, Cameo, anything where the wrestlers basically were doing anything that would be any kind of performance that is under the character that WWE owns.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
as I was saying,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So just to bring you up to speed, what happened is one of their wrestlers, Selena Vega, was making more money on Twitch than she was as a wrestler, and she had to decide. Well, I like this more. This actually, like, there's no future. There's really not a future. There's not a guaranteed future for wrestlers.
Sure,
especially.
there's comas.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So she's like, I'm making more money on Twitch, and this is going up, so I can't give this up. And they fucking canned her. And after that, they said, I support unionization. So it's an issue again. And this is how we get into pissing off the wrestlers enough. It's become an issue again because, of course, she tweets this out. It gets more, people are talking about it more. Former Rusev, now Miro, mentioned how he was canned backstage, caught trying to organize, and that's why they canned him. He was caught trying to organize and talking about unionization. That's why that was the last straw for them firing him. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is there are no laws in place for people to safely organize. Like, how do we get around this? Is this just something? Is this just a never-ending? Like, how are people expected to try to get together? And
yeah, it's one of those American freedom paradoxes, isn't it? Where it's like, in America, you can do whatever you want. It's like, I want to make a union. It's like, you're fired.
and what
It
happened
goes
last
like
time?
that.
Jesse Ventura. This is crazy. I didn't know this
It's the best thing about Jesse, yo.
Yeah, he tried to get everyone to unionize. Hulk fucking Hogan turned him in, and everyone else.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Man, he's
He
such a
was the
great
rat.
guy usually. Hulk Hogan is known as
Yeah.
being like an excellent
Nanny.
person.
And so what happened is they canned a bunch of people, but he had his SAG card. And
I'm
that's,
laughing because Hulk Hogan is a famous piece of shit to other wrestlers.
Oh,
Continue.
absolutely. For many reasons. Racists, et cetera, et cetera. And he's
like, I refuse to lose to you at this pay-per-view. Like that kind of petty nonsense. I'm not talking about how he wouldn't let his daughter date black people. That's his whole other thing. I mean, just to other wrestlers, he was a giant dick.
Holy
absolutely. He's a terrible person. Just look it up. And as I was saying, so back to Justin Ventura, he got this idea of unionization from being on Predator, being with other actors. No kidding.
He saw SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and was like, F this.
And that's where that started, where wrestlers were getting their SAG card so they could have had health insurance. This is a real thing.
Jesse Ventura got awakened to class consciousness by the Predator movie.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
the Predator was capitalism all along.
So to bring you up to speed, this is still being explored. Apparently, it's been said that 20 to 25 people backstage are interested in unionization. They need something like the 50 to 60 to really get. And, well, of course, they have people with giant paychecks on top that want to rat everyone out, so that doesn't help. But my whole point about this is that I forgot my point, and that's how that works.
I think using wrestling, I'm sure some people listening to this do not care about wrestling. That's
of course.
Fine. You don't need to care about wrestling to talk about this. It's just the fact that wrestlers are essentially they're gig economy workers who also are on national fucking TV multiple times a week.
And that's where we get so it's indie. WWE is a billion-dollar company. It is a TV show with actors. And what I was trying to get to, and I forgot my point, Zelina Vega is looking into joining BAFTA and joining SAG and being official screen actors.
Yeah.
Because they're on a show on TV weekly.
You're a damn actor on a screen.
How are you not? And I want that to go to court for that, because it's hard to argue against that.
The fact that they still labeled as independent contractors, like your Uber driver and a fucking John Cena are the same category of employee technically.
And why is that grift? Everyone knows it's shit, but the only reason it continues is because the McMahon is in the fucking Trump administration. Like, literally.
Yeah. His family is in. Yes, it was his wife.
Yes.
Linda.
Cynthia McMahon, I think, is
Linda.
Yeah, she's like an advisor, like a Trump advisor.
So
I'm going to move to the moon.
Everybody knows the independent contractor thing is like shit. Everyone's known forever. It's just like,
oh yeah, it's horse shit. It's nonsense.
Everyone knows. Yeah, they don't know how to make it acknowledged in court. It's a real thing.
So the reason I like wrestlers as a comparison, because we've also been talking about like furry artists in a very strange way. Actually, this is even like
Zootopia is like the WWE of the mainstream furry art.
If you're a furry artist or a lower card WWE wrestler, you probably have the same amount of power over your job. If that makes sense. Some of these low, like jobber dudes or ladies that you see in WWE who are nameless, some of them make less than your favorite furry artist probably does on their own. Like if that
$50.
If that's even like fathomable to people. Wrestlers are interesting because they are working class television celebrities. They're television celebrities who make like $30K a year, like if you're lower on it or less.
Yeah,
it's basically like stand-up comedy with more bumps. Really,
yeah.
It's the same industry, just with more health issues.
So the same obstacles for unionization to wrestling is kind of the same ones to like independent artists, except we don't luckily have a Vince McMahon equivalent screaming over our heads. So like, what aspect of this do you want to get into? There's so many.
Oh God.
So one of the ones I wanted to bring up, and this keeps happening between Disney and then Zootopia, is as people recognize more and more that furries spend money on things, big companies are trying to get into furry, if you will, because we're a microcosm. We're a micro economy, and Pepper, you described it. We're like we're a social anarchy group.
Yeah, in a weird way, we're an oh my God, let me fucking get my voice. Let me get my lips under my I feel like Joseph Biden. Why?
Wow.
Who am I? The president elect over here? I gotta
damn it, Pepper.
Fuck up my stutter and choose a different word to go with. Now I forgot what we were talking about. What?
right.
We are organized in an anarchistic fashion in that there is no top-down president of furry. It is the furries as a group kind of will go, I have an idea. And people will go like, all right, I support that idea. And then the organization happens around that. It's not as much like, do this or you're homeless, or like, do this because I have power over you. It's just people just do things that they think would be a good idea.
Yep.
And that is possible because of what I was talking about before. How there's a shit ton of just kind of wealthy single people in furry who can afford to do that.
Here's the thing go ahead, Drager.
Well, so the reason I brought that up is it is... All right, so the term furry essentially is never going to be able to be trademarked or copywritten because everyone can just point to prior art. The oldest term that I'm aware of as far as furry in conventions, MFF, Midwest Fur Fest, trademarked Fur Fest in like 1999 or 2000 and have renewed it ever since.
Correct.
So Disney is, I'm going to go with this term on purpose, just because it amuses me. Disney and Zootopia are going to go, hey, what's your Zoosona? Not knowing why that's bad. And they're going to trademark that, and then there's going to be all these costumes, and it's like, here's your zebra Zoosona in Walmart and all of these outlet stores. They're going to, some company is going to try to co-opt it with the existing legal structure and change the social opinion away from the social anarchy of furries.
The Walmart heads, remember those from like 3 years ago?
Do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was kind of a mini attempt. This is why my opinion on various like furry outward sexuality has changed. Because when I was a little younger and like newer in the fandom, I'm like, man, we need to like present ourselves as respectable so we get treated less like weirdo psychopaths and more like normal part. And now that I understand how like corporations and corporate acquisitions work, I'm like, please crank out the weirdest, most fucked up porn you possibly can to keep Disney from fucking buying us.
So this will be exactly what you're talking about.
We all love anal vor now because we need to keep fucking Amazon Prime from becoming Amazon furries or whatever the shit.
Butt munching for socialism. I get it. I love it.
When First Squared first started years ago, the Chamber of Commerce for Brookfield, Wisconsin, barely approached me. We're talking about an email was the only interaction we had before I had a check from them. And that is 100% because in certain communities, the furry fandom is very well known. And one of those communities is the public organizations, basically small governments and hotel chains. You have no idea the amount of weight and respect that throwing a furry convention actually takes place because they see our growth numbers too. 30%. Furry conventions grew on average of 30% across the board for about 4 or 5 years in a row, and this was recently. That is one of the things that started this. I'm telling you right now, we had one email with the Chamber of Commerce in Brooklyn, and I had a check from the state to help our convention.
Brookfield,
they know who
not
we
Brooklyn,
are.
New York.
Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Just in case someone listening is like, Brooklyn? What?
No.
What?
That goes to show you what is happening right now as far as turning furry into something that is going to be beneficial to corporate America.
But even then, notice, Alkali, you did not say that what they talked about was they had a 30% increase in Christian values. It was money. It was 100% fucking dollars and cents. That's all they care about. We could be just a dick chopping off convention. If we got 30% growth, holy fuck, they will open the doors.
Absolutely. And that, you're right. I can prove to you right now why it is all about money. The city of Brookfield wanted Fur Squared, the furries, to be the very first group to use their new convention center. Good. They wanted us to do it because our date was close enough. They were begging us to change dates just to be the first ones to use it. Why? Because when we descend on a town, our disposable income is spent there. It is insane what furry brings to a community when they start a convention.
And you just weigh that against the damage we cause, and it's relatively light compared to almost any other type of food.
So light, dude. We are good.
Like, we fucked up one hot tub. We fucked up one hot tub, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, furries are fucking." I'm like, guys, go to a police convention.
Dragger, you know these numbers too. Go.
They barely break even.
Relax, normies. It's just come.
So one of the bigger anime cons, ASEN, is at the same hotel that MFF is at, and I was talking to one of the overnight managers there. So I'm in my full spandex costume because they wanted a picture and everything, and I lean in and I go, "So, how's this compared to ASEN?" And the look of just fucking horror on this person's face when they suddenly had a flashback to, oh my god, 16-year-olds on their own for the first time? We'll take the furries any day.
There is a convention that is not furry. It will remain nameless.
Uh-oh.
They had in their contract, I actually got to see this contract. It was insane. It was one of the most lopsided contracts, but basically this is a community that was able to throw a lot of money at a problem. And that problem is they did not want anyone who worked for the hotel to enter the lower level of the hotel without an escort.
Oh,
Damn.
I know this one. Yep.
There was a incident where a light fixture needed to be replaced, like entirely replaced. This is not something that could wait. These people had to tear down a room that was covered in cellophane.
Oh, Jesus.
That is the level that these hotels have to deal with. Trust me when I tell you, furry is fine.
Well, we don't want to be on the other end where we like stop having people be so cautious and then suddenly it devolves. But I've also seen furries, and I'm like, if I watched you rage as you, the hypothetical randos I see at cons, if I watched like the four of you rage as hard as you possibly can, you would all start playing Raid Shadow Legends, and that's about it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
An hour later, it'd be like, it's cool, man. See, like, I'm gonna do my last minute first this time because I don't think I did that at the last bubble. Let me set up my timer here because I am official and real with my minutes. All right, it's my last minute. Thank you very much to Alkali for hanging out today. Same thing with Xander and Dragor. Doing this podcast has been what I hoped it would be, which is like a place to dump the thoughts that I don't want to just dump on Twitter, where I have more than 100 and whatever characters to deal with. I think that like unionization is definitely a good thing, and I think the system is 100% against it ever happening. So like I see unionization as like, yeah, that would be a great solution to many problems, but I also see the problems that present themselves to us and the roadblocks to unionization being their own reason that sorry, we can't actually unionize. We need to go even past that and dismantle the whole system. I think that's more realistic of an option, and it almost seems like they dangle unionization in front of us to keep us from doing something more extreme. That's my minute. Xander, what is your final minute?
Wait, didn't I have a minute? Oh, I thought I already
had
had
a minute and some other shit that takes a minute. This is last minute.
Geez,
everything's
this is like
a
the
minute.
Wrap up. Oh,
yeah, we're
man.
wrapping
we're
up
at the
now.
end.
Dragger,
Wrestling's
you
happening,
go. I'm
baby.
passing the hot potato, baby.
Hey, who? Dragor, what's your minute?
The topic that I read that I'm going to riff on, poor people deserve to be taken care of. Do racists? Yes.
That's one of my prompts.
I
Keep
literally
going.
said that.
Keep
I
going.
said I was gonna do
This
it.
is editing. I'm going to edit out the part where we talked about it, and I was going to leave in that quip, but now we're all fucked. The Matrix is falling apart before our eyes.
I didn't know it was going to be a bit. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, that's
No bits, only truth.
Only truth.
All right, that's your minute. Moving on.
Yeah.
I got my minute if you want it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
wow, okay, fine, whatever. Gee.
I'll do it.
Yep.
Xander, you go.
All right. So, about a week ago, the entire right flipped the fuck out because Harry Styles wore a dress. And yeah, it's fucking funny when the right fucking flips out. But it's just so fucking predictable. It's getting exhausting, honestly, because it's just like they know they've lost the election, so they're just hyping the next culture war. And this was their Ben Shapiro getting mad at someone wearing a dress on a Vanity Fair cover. It's hard for me to make that jump. Like, why are housewives supposed to care? It's because they don't want their kids to dress up they don't want their kids to dress up in dresses. That's what they are trying to say. But oh my God, it's just an outrage machine that they're trying to rev up because they know they lost. And that's what that is. And they don't care. But when you really boil it down, oh boy, I went past a minute, didn't I? That's it.
That's my favorite technique. Yo, that's the Joe Biden technique. I'm out of time.
Loved it when he
I'm
did
out of
that.
time.
I'm out of
And
time.
also need ADD medication. So, you know.
Oh, damn. The similarities are building. All right, Alkali, what's your minute? You're surprised. You have a minute. We didn't tell you about this.
You did not, but I've been thinking about it, and I think the one I want to talk about for less than a minute would be local news needs to be funded by federal government. It is absolutely crazy that local news has taken the hit that it has, and it absolutely was going to do that because you have large corporations who can buy entire channels on TV and tell them what kind of news segments they have to put on. That is crazy talk. Local news is an important part of small community, and it is something that should be funded by big government. They can do what they want, but they need the help. That's mine.
Everybody give a real-life actual applause to Alkali. Thank you for being on the
Aw, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This was a blast.
It's great. It'll sound like the old Howard Stern show with like 4 people clapping.
Yeah.
30
All right, is that
Okay.
it? Is that all of our minutes?
We
I
did
will.
it.
I will actually do my last minute.
All right,
All right,
go for
Jagger,
it.
hit it.
Okay, last minute, take 2. I'm very much on Twitter. I waved the banner of ACAB 1312. The best police reform is all of them retiring immediely. And I believe the same thing basically is true of every Republican. And let's go with half the Democrats. They have betrayed the core of public service. That's what public office is, serving us, the common people. So I want them out of those jobs and out of that kind of responsibility, basically forever and permanently. I don't want them on the streets. I don't want their families to starve. But like, I want everyone to be able to live. I just don't want the people who are shitty when given power to keep the fucking power. I want them gone. But I'm not here saying like, oh, kill everyone now. I'm not going to be divine.
Kill everyone now.
Now.
Advocate first-degree murder. Eat shit. Greatest line in film history.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit. Filth are my politics. Filth is my life. Take whatever you like.
One of our original things when we went by a different name was a John Waters header, so I felt it my obligation to bring that up.
Wonderful.
Love it.
That's my minute.
Filth are my politics, and the proletariat will overthrow the bourgeoisie. Good night, everyone. This has been Last Minute Politics. We'll see you soon. Give us some money on PayPal. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Night.
Yay.